Hey, out there in YouTube land, this is RT Bear coming to you live from Hack Studios. And this is the Pontificators. We do this once a week on my channel, my YouTube channel. And we pontificate the hell out of shit. Hell, I say, out of shit. And we got some shit for you tonight. As Chris Wozniak would say, we got some butt stuff too. So we're going to do some butt stuff as always on Pontificators. I'm sure it'll be rude and crude, and some Jennifer Connelly jokes, and the rest that you've come to depend on as far as your Wednesday entertainment. And yeah, you guys, as always, this is very interactive. So if we got some newbies in there, there's a thing called the chat, and it's over there, I think. And type stuff in, ask us questions, tell us jokes, whatever you want to do. Tell us how my camera's always so bright. I try to adjust it, but my hair is looking good, so that's a plus. And yeah, we got a full house tonight. And let me see how many we got. What is this? Britsky the Great, Britsky. Yes. Salute to the incoming chat. Salute Art. Salute panel. Right back at you, brother. We got Edwin the Ace, Volume 3, coming in September. Edwin is he is Comicsgate. His blood bleeds CG, and he's always got somebody like the Ace. He's got some great projects here, and the dude delivers. He's already on Volume 3, so. We got a guy named Clint Hilinski. I don't know who the hell that is, but he backs up Edwin. And oh wow, we got D Geekart. How are you, Elizabeth? I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, haven't been in here forever. How have you been? I'm sorry, man, that was bad. Good. I hope you've been good as well. And we closed out the Inco T-shirt. So if you guys don't know, Elizabeth is the artist behind the Inco creation. Gave her a little bit of a description, and she went to town on it. So Inco is now the Hack Studios mascot. He's up in this corner. And yeah, she did a great job, and I do appreciate it. And we made T-shirts. So we sold, or we got a bunch of backers. And we just recently closed out on my Indiegogo in-demand black and white site. We just closed out the T-shirt. So I'll be sending you some orders very, very soon, Elizabeth. And I cannot thank you enough for all the work that you've done. And the support. Very supportive. That's what we need. Baz. Hail. All hail to the Lords of the Rings. Wait, we got Comic Book Bob in the chat too? Whoa. Hashtag butt stuff. I think we got enough people in here to get this party crazy. So without further ado, possibly the craziest pontificator I've ever come across, Mr. Todd Rooney. How you doing?
The craziest? Really?
You crazy son of a bitch. You're nuts.
I'm better get crazy tonight because I'm going to have to live up to that intro.
You're damn right, brother. So how long ago did we start this show? 4 years?
A long time ago. Forever ago.
For
3 years. Seems like 3 years. Close to 3 years.
3 years, not 4 years? Probably 3 years.
How
about 3.5?
Maybe a little over 3.
I can't keep track of time anymore. Yeah, and a fairly new guy to Pontificators, but once this guy came in, game changer, huge game changer, the master of the sexy comics, bringing back sexy to comics. He's got a new book called The Superiors, I do believe. Mr. Clint Hilinski.
What up, gentlemen? Everybody having a good evening tonight? Yeah, Superiors is the next big thing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But
it will.
It's at least the next thing.
Yeah, the artwork looked great, man. It looked fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I've got a little treat tonight for you, Art. A little extra. I love my homages to to the classics. So I've got a little something to show you later.
I hope it's a homage to either let me see, Neil Adams, George Perez, or John Byrne. One of those.
I did my John Byrne. Well, actually, I can pull one of those off because I have a couple.
Well, we'll do.
I'm the king of homages.
Yeah, you are, and
them.
sexy chicks. I think he's snoozing in the back room, right in front of his brick wall. He always looks like he's in a comedy club or something. Always dressed very, very nice, very sophisticated. Usually drinking wine out of some kind of nice glass.
What's the
wine.
deal with airplane peanuts?
Yeah, what is going on, yo? Mr. Chris Wozniak, how are you, brother?
I was looking at the Ross Andrew omnibus.
Spider-Man?
Yeah. I wasn't napping.
Well, there you go. I thought you were napping.
He's wearing a smoking jacket. I don't know if you guys realize.
Dude, it's
a
fucking
leather jacket.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the old school, stereo equipment. I got a room over here where it's my music room, and I have something on level with that, but it's not quite as cool. I do have a turntable. Do you have a turntable over there?
I do, yeah, but it's not out and working. We're like an upgrade. I'm not super huge in vinyl. I just have like specific classic like the 30 big bangers that I like, because the hassle of vinyl is a lot for me to deal with, with the cleaning and so I don't do it too much, but
the hassle of moving your entire collection from California to Texas.
Did we cover
I have hundreds of records in there.
Did we cover this already? That vinyl's making this huge, massive comeback. It's in Walmart all over the place.
Yeah. My daughter's big time into it. We would go. What is that place in Hollywood? I forget what it's called. Amoeba Records, and they have all kinds of old and new records, but they have everything. Yeah. And so on her birthday, we would drive out there and just let her run amok, and she would buy a bunch of stuff. That's
cool.
Really cool. Yeah. So let's get. Without Bob, we would not have a show. Mr. Comic Book Bob, the most supportive individual and generous man I think I've met in a while. So how you doing, Bob?
God damn, I don't know how to react to that.
Yeah, well, you're
cheers to you, man.
You're always here. You always have you're the master of finding stuff. If it wasn't for you, Chris wouldn't be able to promote Penelope our house.
Bob has to do everything.
Yeah.
Every time we start the show, Art's backstage going, "How do I fix the lighting?"
I am here to serve.
It's like being in a time zone. Yeah, it's like a time war. It's the same shit.
Speaking of Penelope Powerhouse, check out the links in the description, guys.
Excellent.
And in the chat.
Yeah, and also all the links to our projects are in the description as well. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh wait. Pedro was.
Hello, birthday boy.
He was actually sleeping. Yeah, we don't need to hear you, Pedro. So I'm just gonna move on to Rob since you're muted.
I'm not.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Pedro, glad to have you back.
Oh, dude, I just came from Panamanian Mardi Gras, and it was insane. And I think I'm still drunk.
Oh, great.
So
we won't notice the difference.
This is water.
Water is good. Water is your friend.
Spicy water.
You know what? Water is your friend unless you live in Ohio.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
Yeah, rainbow water.
We're kind of freaking out about that a little bit.
Yeah. Donald Trump, unlike our president, actually made a trek to Ohio and brought some resources with him. So God bless President Trump or ex-President Trump.
Well, Bob, just drink and bathe in beer until.
The
crisis is over.
This is a superhero origin, man. This is how we get powers.
Dude, in the medieval times, people would drink beer and not water. So
they would drink wine. Usually, right?
Wine and beer.
Yeah.
2% beer, but if you drink water, you'll get the runs and die. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of whiners, let's bring Rob Rob,
Winner.
Whiner. Oh, it's
Winner.
I thought it was a whiner.
Whiner.
that was probably my best introduction ever.
That all depends on in 60 days how Death Raider does. It might change to whiner.
Whiner.
No, dude, it's heating up, man. You are doing fantastic.
Yeah,
The
where
book
you at?
is great. Yeah.
Well, first off, I was told by other people, hey, why are you doing 60 days instead of 30 days? And I'm like, I don't really have an answer for that. And then they're like, oh, well, 60 days, you're going to watch it spark and then go nowhere for 40 days. And you're going to think nobody wants your book. And then at the end, it'll kick up and you'll be like, oh, maybe I should have done 30 days. So
Well,
it's at 62-ish right now.
Yeah, you do the trick.
Well,
You go,
6,200.
you go 30
How's-
days.
That's right.
You go 30 days, Rob, and then
Yes.
what you do is you go, well, maybe I'll do 60. I don't know. So then you create this 30-day illusion, right? And then just before your 30 days is up, you roll it over into another 30.
Yeah, well, I should have done that. I was also, because all my newest artwork is so much better than the stuff I first did that I really wanted to be able to just kind of keep rolling out. So I'm like, well, I'll give myself 60 days so I can keep rolling out new artwork because I've been, to be honest, I've been changing and learning a lot of stuff too. Like not changing pages, but so.
Yeah, the thing is, none of it's hard and fast rules. And the thing is, like the idea that I just said, both John Malin and I we crashed and burned publicly because we were live, and then we're going, oh, we'll turn over, for another 30 days. So we're playing this whole 30 days. Let's do 60, right? Let's do another 30. And so when I clicked it over and John did the same, we closed it.
Oh no!
Actually, no, Art. I think John was trying to do it, but he did it like too close on the clock, and that was funny because it was like the whole Edna and then from RoboCop, like you have 15 seconds to comply, but I'm pressing the button. You have 10 seconds to comply. Close.
Yeah, ours was something like that. Pamela's like, we're in demand now. We're not.
Oh no!
Which one was that, for the first black and white or the second one?
That was this campaign. But what I did, I contacted, just like John did, I contacted Indiegogo and asked them and said, it was a mistake. And there's like a button that you push that's kind of like, it could, depending on your frame of mind, it could mean
I hate that.
The same thing, right? So you don't really know which way to, push. And my wife's was one and mine was the other. And so after that, I told my wife never listen to me, especially with this stuff, because she was right. Yeah.
Tech, everything in tech is like that, where the tech guys, because they made it, they know exactly what it means. But the rest of us are lames. We have no idea, it could mean this or it could mean that. And they do that to you on everything.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it all. And the thing I don't like about computers and all this stuff is there's too many variables, because when I grew up, there was a button and the button meant what it was. And then it did what it was designed to do. With computers, there's always if you click this and it doesn't do that, what you want, well, then you can do this, or you can do that, or you can go around this. And it's like, no.
When I was young, we had a lever. We pulled it, and it just did what we wanted.
Lever.
And we pulled it.
I had a horse.
Newfangled wires and circuits. And
Well, that's why I kept bouncing in and out. I had no headphone access. I couldn't hear anything. So I was here, and then I was gone, and then I was here again. So computers.
I want that lever. By the way, Bob, I still want that lever. I want that lever back. Yeah.
For everything.
Just give me the one button that does everything.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Yeah, no
whammy. No whammy.
Let's go steampunk style.
Oh my God!
Levers and gears.
And steampunk.
I want to see the inner workings. I don't want to just guess at it. But you know what? Somehow this all works, and this is Dick Tracy technology, because we're coming to everybody live. We're coming to everybody live. It's like the little
Tracy art. Jesus.
What a reference, Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. Like all the youngsters, like yeah. Dick Tracy.
Everybody below the age of 40 just went, what?
Well, the Dick
Yeah.
Tracy communication watches. I look at Chris as being quiet,
I do
like he doesn't
remember
know
that.
what I'm talking
Well,
about.
because you know how Star Trek this is. Like when you were a kid, and you were watching Trek, and they have the guy up on the screen, and you're talking to him, and that just seemed like it's nuts. It's like the whole world doing it. And it's like kids are. My daughter's upstairs doing it now with her friends.
Yeah, we still can't teleport, so there's that.
Where's my flying car, Bruce?
Exactly.
And our cities are crumbling,
Well,
but we have the communications.
Well,
Yeah.
Right. They were saying something about like the fly stuff where they could teleport you, but I think the problem still is like the fly, like it won't quite be what it started as, but they can teleport certain aspects.
Yeah, didn't
I
they
mean,
the quantum information things just recently, like last year or so?
I think so. I think they, like cloning too, like they can clone, but I just don't think the results are really, perfect.
desirable.
Desirable. It's like flying cars. Like, once everybody's like, oh, I want a flying car. Then when you think about it practically, do you want actually cars flying over your head?
God damn it! I want to fly car.
What happens when they collide, Bob? They fall down.
What about
they'll
lanes?
do that. Wait for me.
What about lanes? Like who stops midair? Like red light midair. Like I don't know, man.
Once you have flying cars,
We figured out how to make cereal not soggy in milk. We can figure this straight out, okay?
No,
Well, I always think like, okay, flying cars. You got that weekend warrior that's doing his own work on his own flying car. He knows better than everybody else. He's going to go to Pep Boys. He's going to get some parts. He's going to go pull apart, get some used, and he's going to fix his own flying car, right? He gets it up and starts throwing parts. Parts start dropping, and then the next thing you know, flying cars on the ground.
Yeah, that's why there's never going to be a flying car, because look at how much they spend. Like a helicopter, the maintenance on a helicopter is $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
So nobody could, okay, so maybe some super rich will have flying cars. The rest of us will still be on the ground. Well, actually, we'll all be in 15-minute cities, so we'll be biking and walking everywhere.
Rob, why do you got to shit on my soul, man?
I'm sorry. Unless you become a billionaire, no flying car. I'm sorry.
It's
the
not
maintenance.
practical. Even though you might have the technology, it's just not practical.
No. They work on jets and everything so often.
How far back do you think we're gonna go? Like once
once everything goes bad.
Like, are we gonna go to those bikes with the huge wheel up front and the little wheel behind?
What were those?
Penny
farthings?
Penny farthing, yeah.
And
I don't even know how the hell you get up on those things.
Yeah, and there's a klaxon I want to come back. Those that goes like I want that shit to come back. That was fun.
Yeah, you're definitely still drunk.
Yeah.
I want the old 1980s RX-7 back.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Right now,
did you just buy that?
Or the
right
Nissan,
now, the only thing we have is
what was the
24/7 porn in our phones. That's all we have. That's the future. 24/7 porn.
I want to crank on my cell phone, so I gotta power it up.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I was with Clint, man, when those RX-7s came out. I test drove those suckers. Those were nice.
Oh, that thing was a thing of beauty. What was there was the Mazda RX-7, and then there was the Nissan that was a straight knockoff of it. And they were like both kind of low end Jaguar cars.
You guys remember
the Nissan was the one that they used in like was it not the Fast and Furious, but there was one car that they used early on.
The Sentra?
I think, no,
because that's what they used in Fast and Furious.
Wasn't it like the Z300?
Bring back the 70s.
Oh, my God.
Oh God, no. 70s was the worst.
There was good parts of it though. Did somebody say bring back the Bush?
Bring back the Bush, man.
No. Randy,
that way you know you're doing something.
Randy's in the house. Everybody hail Randy in the chat.
Are you guys comparing the new Corvette to the RX-7?
No,
the new Corvettes rock.
No,
those are amazing. It's like the poor man's Ferrari.
Yeah,
no. The poor man's Ferrari was the Fiero.
Yeah.
No,
You have
well,
to, you have to be on
Fiero,
a
the-
Do you remember
diet.
that piece of crap?
Rob,
Yeah,
Rob,
but-
you got to be on a diet to drive one of those Corvettes because I'm not
What
sure I
is it?
could fit in the.
What is it worse than the Miata? Like
well, the new
Oh, the
Corvettes,
Mazda Miata.
they're
It was a
faster
toy
than the
car.
Ferrari.
Oh,
The Ferrari is just if you have 300 grand to pay for it, but the Corvettes
Yeah,
are faster.
the Corvette's like kind of grown up a little bit. It's like that
Mm.
really hot hooker that you like, you don't
You
want to
can't
take
afford
her,
either.
you don't want to take her to family functions, but she's like, she's got like a PhD in math.
Yeah, it's just like
You can't-
a hooker that cooks.
Happy.
Those new Corvettes though, you got to be under 200 pounds to sit in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Oh, they're that
small.
tight?
They're
They're
pretty
tight.
tight, yeah.
Well, I was going to
Um,
say that's why I didn't buy an RX-7, Clint. Is
Yeah.
because I'm not an overly tall person.
Well, back in the yeah.
Mm.
But like the windshield, the way it came back and everything, it just
Yeah.
didn't really accommodate it. It's for a taller person, so they sit
Yeah.
back further. Although I did test
Oh.
drive the Corvettes of the time, and I fit in there pretty well. But I heard like Corvettes for a taller, usually a taller person too. But I didn't have a problem with the Corvettes. But the RXs I did, and I ended up buying a Toyota MR2 with a little rear engine,
Yeah.
sports car.
Well,
Those things were really bad.
American Comics Co. is like setting us straight on this. First, it was the Mitsubishi Eclipse,
That's
Oh, yeah.
it. The Eclipse is the car I was
the
thinking.
Toyota Supra, and then
The
Fast and
Supra.
Furious was the Nissan Skyline.
Skyline.
The great
Yeah.
thing,
Us-
about any kind of Mitsubishi though was it like had a lawnmower engine. Like any Mitsubishi, you hear that engine run, and it's like that. It sounds like my lawnmower.
It's a little rice burner.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had that
Is it-
little mid-engine MR2. That thing was cool. I was talking to Pamela the other day, and she goes, "Remember Jim Lee when he got money? He bought what are those things called? Oh shit, a Miata, a Miata."
Mazda
Ooh.
Miata.
And she's like, that's a gay ass car.
That's a toy car.
It's a prophetic statement from your wife there.
Yeah, well, she's a connoisseur, like automobile, so she likes the hot vehicles. And
Miatas were
but
cool
right
for
after,
like 2 seconds, and then everybody pointed out how gay they are.
Miatas were cool for about as long as the Pet Rock was.
Yeah.
Mm.
I always thought
The
like
Chia
it was a cool like girl car. Like,
Chia Pets were
oh.
never cool, man.
yeah,
They were never cool. That's why they had so many commercials.
Chia.
Nobody was buying that shit.
it's like
Yeah.
a guy that buys a Volkswagen Bug. I'm sorry if there's anybody out there that has a Volkswagen Bug, either past or present.
You shut your whore mouth.
What's wrong with the bug?
Uh-oh.
Volkswagen
Right
Hey,
there with Bob right there.
My first car was a Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, but
Oh,
let's
you
face it,
see,
I had
you
one
struck
because
a
they were
nerve, Art.
cheap.
Dude, I had to push that seat back all the way.
Oh, man.
And like recline the shit just to be able to squeeze myself in there. People make
Dude.
fun of me when I would get out of that thing. I'm
Dude,
6'4".
that's a car
All
for
those
somebody
other
who
cars
lives,
you're
like,
talking
in-
about
in
were
the
on the
15th century,
bug
man.
frame.
Yeah.
Wait, what, Todd?
A lot of
All
the
those other cars you're talking about were on the bug frame.
Yeah.
Or
You
they're
know,
but
like Fiero and stuff like that. That was a same frame.
them quarter panels were sexy though.
Yeah. Well, if you're
Yeah.
comparing it to the
I saw
Fiero, I mean that's a
Fiero.
gay car.
I saw a
Oh.
Fiero within the last 5 years, not an ounce of rust on it. You know why?
It's all rubber.
It's all plastic.
It's a
In the
rubber body,
garage.
right?
The rubber
had-
car.
They hadn't cracked the frame, so it still looked like. I mean, the paint was or whatever was on it was faded, but the body
Oh
was.
my god.
The body
my
was
God.
exactly. It was like 1987 vintage.
That's like a guy talking about why he traded up his wife, man. He's like, yeah, the body was still good, man, but that
Can you
frame,
please
that
highlight-
frame was still good, but that body was going.
Can you please highlight what Randy Howell just wrote?
Yeah. Don't
What-
let your
what
wife
did he-
choose the car. Yanzi made Shane buy a Nissan Cube.
But
Oh.
Shane killed an elk with that car.
Yeah.
Shane was looking for something to hit with that car so he
Yeah,
could
dude.
get out of it. That's what.
Yeah, dude, he killed the
There
deer.
was a bunch
That's
of
an
like
ugly car.
weird college girl vehicles in like
Yeah,
the last
dude.
decade. The Cube, the
That's-
Soul.
The PT Cruiser.
Those are cars that like
PT
some chick that's going to a
Cruisers, yeah.
rave would be driving. You know,
There's some ugly little
That's
like
Shane's crusty ass.
mid-size SUVs that are
Soul,
just
isn't that the
garbage.
hamster car? The hamster
yeah, that's the hamster car.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
dude! Shane got in that, and immediately his testosterone dropped like 20 points.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, but his wife was happy. So Clint, what did you say just before we went live? You brought up something. I thought it was fun.
It's a good question, Art.
Talk some-
Oh, he forgot already.
Oh, you don't remember? I don't remember either.
We've only been on the air for 25
Oh,
minutes.
12
We're
minutes.
I just remembered. So
We're getting old.
as
goddammit.
hardcore comic book fans as we are, I remember being like 18, 19. This was my first paid comic book gig. I worked as basically an art assistant for a dude working at DC Comics. And like basically I was like literally I was inking borders, I was filling blacks. It's the break-in thing, and I was ecstatic. And he was probably 12 years older than me, 15 years older than me, something like that. And he'd been in the business for a while. And like he had piles of comics everywhere around his studio. And I was like, oh man, this is just like, this would be heaven. You know, you get free comics from the publisher and you can like just read comics all day. And I'm like, you went through the newest stuff. And he's like, I don't read comics anymore. He's like, I haven't touched any of that stuff. And I was just like crestfallen. I was like in shock. I was like, what? You work in comics, you draw comics. Like, how are you not reading all these comics? And I was like, man, and not that I ever made any comics, but like I'm still drawing comics to this, so I'll count that. Like, I'll never get like that. Well,
Yeah.
25 years later.
yeah, one of the naiveties of youth. And I mean, I will read comics from time to time, and I like to try and, but like staying up to date on the weekly ins and outs of Marvel and DC has kind of slipped away from me through the years now.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of one of those things that I think that happens to a lot of comic creators is like, I'll follow artists that I love, and I'll follow the occasional writer that, like, you know, you can see a little spark of creativity, but like the weekly grind of Spider-Man or Superman or something, that is
especially
kind of
now.
slipped away from me now.
Yeah, there's the three stages. There's like three stages. Okay, when you first start working professionally, and if you're working for Marvel, at least in the past, they would send you comps, right? So you would get not only the books you worked on, but you would get all the books that the publisher did that month.
And you would get a case of the books that you worked on.
Yes, you get a lot of them. You could sell them if you wanted.
You get 30 copies.
Yeah, so then you when this first happens, you're like, oh, this is a great perk, man. I get all these comic books, and you're reading them all, right? And then 10 years later, you're kind of like, I like these ones, you know. So you just kind of go through them, you rifle through them real quick, and then you put the ones you'll maybe read over to the side, and then the rest you kind of figure out, can I give these to the kids, or you know, is it for the dumpster? And then later, stage 3 is like, you get the books and you're just like, you don't even open the box.
I never got to that point, Art. I was always excited for the books from DC, but I also started giving all the trade paperbacks away at conventions when people would buy prints. So it literally became like, oh, what new hardcovers and prints can I give away to help sell my prints? But what happened to me was previews. I couldn't handle buying previews because I would flip through previews going,
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
I didn't work out.
Oh, there you go.
Abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
What?
You froze.
You roboted.
Yeah,
You
Oh, I did?
Hard.
You got
You left
to the
us all
point.
hanging.
Yeah,
You go through previews. You go through previews.
And then I would see all the projects I would have been great to work on. And I couldn't handle it anymore. Like after like 6 months of that, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, half these projects would have been so great to work on, and like 5 of them I would have been like so much better than the guys they had, and I'm like, I ended up having to. I couldn't even look at it anymore. I was so frustrated.
That's
by it.
another pro secret we can get into is going
You're
through
making this
through
sound like a
previews
terminal
and going to
illness.
see what creators are on books.
Oh,
Yeah, one at a time.
yeah, like you guys are making this sound like a terminal illness, like stage 1, then you go to
Mhm.
stage 3, and then stage
It
4
is.
you die. It's like
Yes.
Have you seen the stuff that's being put out today?
Mm.
like I don't know, like to me that's a corpse twitching. Like everything I see.
It's a zombie.
Just like like in those like horror movies when they hit somebody with a mallet to the head that
Mhm.
foot is twitching. Everything that's coming out of Marvel is just like, oh look at the foot, it's moving. But no, this is a corpse. It sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to make it sound like I'm too jaded here, but I'm talking about 40 years of getting these these books and stuff like that. And I think what it did, like towards the end there, it was to the point where you just go, these books aren't really that great, But go ahead, Chris. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I would say like if you break it down, like what I spend money on comic book wise these days, I'd say it's like 80% or 90% reprints, and then 10% it's indie stuff. I can't. It's really, I mean, if Greg Capullo does a Batman run, I'll pick that up, but it's got to be something special.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Specific artists that I like
Yeah,
and
it's gotta
follow. If they get,
A writer I really like.
yeah,
Even then, though, I'll probably.
What was that?
It wasn't for me.
It was.
It's usually
Oh, was it?
Pedro.
No, it's Pedro.
Dinosaurs are running around behind Pedro's house. So.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the friggin' mosquitoes, man.
I live in Isla Sorna. Okay, I live in Jurassic Park.
Chris Pratt is running through his backyard hurting a velociraptor.
In that little bite.
You know how we were talking about cars? He's got one of those bubble vehicles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Jeez.
those are amazing.
Oh, the round.
Really hot.
Yeah.
Hot. Midday. You have to wear sunblock.
Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I tell you, the Pope Mobile.
Yeah. No, don't get shot at down here. They don't like the Pope anymore.
You're gonna kill Todd, man.
Okay.
Somebody's wheezing.
I'm gonna get more water. Okay?
Yeah, why don't you get some coffee while you're at it, you lug?
Pause. Make your point, man. Pause. Chris is like, shit. I forgot what I was
No,
talking about.
I'm with Waz because those guys were really good storytellers. Like the Sal Buscema's, Ross Andrew. So you don't when a bunch of stuff that came after it was so flashy and so like I'm not. Those are really great artists, but if you pick through and you go, well, who's a really good storyteller? It's guys like Lee Weeks and
Lee Weeks.
Really,
Oh man.
really good storyteller, and so I still gravitate towards them. In the flashy stuff, like Deadly Duo is he's really telling a good story. The action, the pacing, the camera angles and stuff is really, really good. And he's always been known for that. You look back at the X-Men stuff and his sort of John Buscema style that he used to have. That stuff was really, really great. I remember the little
Who?
he used to,
Silvestri.
Silvestri.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
But he's always been a good storyteller. So I always go back to those guys that
Yeah.
because that's what I need to learn. That's what I need to get better at. I can draw a flashy single page panel thing any day.
What's that band? Greta Van Fleet? Or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, the Zeppelin clones.
Yeah,
The
right.
great cover
That's
band.
what I say. You listen to something like that and you go, and you just want to go listen to Led Zeppelin. You don't want to do that, and so, you just like move on to the real deal. And it's like that, a lot of guys that are really good, but then if you've got that, Buscema thing going, I'm just going to go and look at John Buscema books. It's like, it doesn't matter, if you're even good at it, you're not going to be as good as the guy that invented it.
But if you're selling to a bunch of 20, 25-year-olds that don't know Buscema at all, and you just want to make money.
It certainly isn't bad to see somebody who's a derivative of somebody to really either sometimes push past that person, and it can happen. What's the guy's name? Roberto Del Toro. Oh my God, his stuff is like excellent, and they don't even like. He's done some Conan stuff, like some covers and stuff, and some fill-in things, but he just should be their choice. But I think it may be just too obvious.
Yeah. Whenever Todd talks, I always want to be Todd. Like you're so passionate still about comic books. You're so knowledgeable about all this stuff, and I just kind of,
Yeah.
I look at black and white when I need inspiration.
Yes.
And,
Well, we all, I think we all
the checks
have
in the mail, Todd.
We all have those guys.
yeah, hey.
Yeah. We all have those people that we
Rob
always
Todd.
gravitate back to, like whenever, like Silvestri's, like, again, like we're talking about Silvestri. Silvestri's a guy, I don't care what he's doing, I'm always going to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Well, Silvestri is John Buscema. So Silvestri learned from the great. So like Silvestri is a combination of Buscema meets like, you could see when Mignola came on the market, and then, like the West Coast line work that we were doing, he started incorporating that into his work. And then it became like this really unique hybrid that's now, Silvestri's own style, but I think any newbies out there that are listening, it's always good to learn from those core sources, because you can't go wrong. Like if you go back to Buscema, and learn everything that guy has, Ramita Senior, like go back to some of these guys, Neil Adams, Jim Aparo, these, really greats. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. There's guys like Ron Garney, right? That you could go back to a period and go, Ron Garney, but man, did he just sort of reinvent himself over and over and over? And like the stuff he's doing now is really, really fresh. It's really like bold and
I remember he had that great run on Captain America with
that stuff was really good. But you go back to when he came in and really started to I think he did some Ultimates work and stuff like that.
Yeah. Everybody starts
was
off
it
as
Mike
like
Zecchi?
Yeah. Everyone starts off as like
a little,
clone of somebody, and then slowly over time, the really good ones will develop and change and grow. You know? I mean, like you look at like what Stefan Platt was doing when he first got in there. He looked like a cross between a Todd McFarlane and a Rob Liefeld clone. And then the stuff he was doing later on turned into something completely different,
And now he's a Dave Finch clone.
Travis Charest is a really good example of that. He was a Jim Lee clone when he first showed up. Yeah. When he was doing that book Dark Stars.
Sometimes clones don't really like excite me. Like,
no.
Remember the guy Jose Landron, who was like a Kirby clone with a lot
and he would do those full paintings.
But
like
he did it way differently. He was like just using some Kirby
line work.
Yeah, I wouldn't Kirby call him a clone.
How did he get Cable? I never understood that. His Cable stuff was awful. It was cool, but awful for selling.
Yeah, this goes back to your picking up the previews magazine and going, why?
Exactly.
Why is that guy?
No.
What you guys remember the guy that fell off the building in Japan, Seth something? His stuff didn't really hit me that well at first, but then it grew on me. Like he did that really weird Green Lantern book with stuff coming out of his head and things like that. That's something.
Some of these artists, I swear to God, it's just right place, right time kind of gigs.
Yeah.
It's like an editor that doesn't necessarily give a shit.
Are you talking about
somebody on a book?
You talking about Ladron?
No,
Seth Fisher. Earlier we were talking about Ladron.
You guys know who Seth Fisher is? Do you remember the quirky stuff he did?
Who
is Fisher? I'm gonna look him up here. See if it jogs my mind.
That dude? Who was the dude that was the fill-in artist on Grant Morrison's X-Men? That was so rushed, and it was just so. I don't know if anybody remembers that guy, because he would fill in for Phil Jimenez.
Okay.
Kyber.
Well, do you remember
was it the Spanish? Was it
it was some European
Salvador Larocca?
No, not Salvador Larocca.
I don't like
Salvador. At least tried to put in good work.
Do you remember Linneo Yu's early stuff? on Wolverine. Like, how did he get
Yes.
Wolverine? It was so clunky, and it was like moving an action figure around and from panel to panel.
You know
It
what
was
it
so
was?
bad.
It was Will's Portaccio, like where like Will's can exaggerate things, and
Yeah.
for the most part he pulls it off. But it's like Neil Adams clones. Like they don't quite have the drawing and the ability to really make it work. So when they ape them, they make all the same mistakes. They don't know how to edit it. So like early on, like Lionel's, like the necks were really long and the traps were, it was all like Will's Portaccio stuff. And I mean, he was like Will's brought him in. Will's gave him his start and taught him. But then he kind of started bringing Travis Charest into the world. And then he started kind of becoming his own thing. And he's brilliant.
I asked an editor,
ugly Travis Charest without all the fine line work, and it was super gritty. And it's like, oh, this works.
I like it because it's ugly. Like he makes like all the guys' faces really elongated, and then like for some reason he tells the colors like because he adds like the eyelid, the red part of the eyelid. And so he instructs he has to do it because all the colors do it. Like it's like blood red, like around the eyes, especially on the women. They have
you get the lower eyelashes. You get like a gap
he does all that.
And the lower eyelashes.
Yeah, it's too much, and it's way overdone, and it's ugly, but it's beautiful. Like I love that guy's work, but it is kind of borderline kind of ugly.
Yeah, looking up Seth Fisher, I do remember this guy. He kind of reminded me of like a cross between like Jeff Darrow and Very Quietly.
I remember this.
Jesus!
Had that the color stuff. I don't know who was doing the colors on his stuff, but it had that kind of flat kind of feel to it.
Wait,
Igor Cordray?
Yes,
Igor Cordray
was. That's the guy I was talking about as the fill-in on Grant Morrison's X-Men.
Yeah.
And
is that the guy who did Silver Surfer stuff too? The ugly Silver Surfer.
But like this guy was under deadline pressure, and he wasn't like a real clean artist to begin with. It was just really gritty, ugly stuff, especially compared with like Jimenez and Ben Skyver, Ethan's stuff on X-Men, and like they had some really pretty stuff on there. And this guy just came in to like save deadlines, basically.
Are you talking about the new X-Men run?
No, this was.
Because those guys all work.
I'm not sure when it was.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just gotta look at his new X-Men. I'm looking at some of his new X-Men stuff. Yeah, it looks super rushed.
Yep.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about now, Clint. But yeah, just I mean, a lot of people in the chat are asking like, where we talk about Landron. Yeah. He's kind of like he's Kirby meets Mobius, like this European kind of thing.
That's
with
what he is.
With like Kirby's like really chunky like bulky figures. What is
and
this?
women that look like men.
Talking about these
Yeah.
all those guys.
Show them again.
Hold those up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That is those.
Okay.
And that's so jarring when you get into the trade paperback when you got like these, the top artists in the thing, and then they're like bringing in one dude that just can he's like he can save our deadlines, so the good artists can take their time. And then you look at it in a trade paperback, and you're like, oh, it's like a gut punch when you get to those pages.
Yeah, it's such a thankless job to get those gigs. So, I mean, it's a necessary thing. So I'm always, I try not to be too judgmental with them, but I do like when I was younger, I'd go, why? Yes. There's so many people. I was like Rob, like, why is this happening? There's so many talented people that can get in there and do it,
Yeah, I hate that shit.
The right amount of time to excel either.
No.
They're coming in to fill in and they got 20 days.
Well, God forbid an editor plan ahead to pick out artists that styles would match each other, just in case they run into deadline pressure. It's like, no, we'll just wait until the last second and just, pick out whoever's can crap out 22 pages in a month.
And then some pencilers get forever. You know, like even in the beginning, like our Adams was given forever. Jay Lee was given forever on Namor. Like
the first guy.
No surprise.
Art Adams was the very first guy they bent the schedule for, because it used to be they used to say in the office, if you can't draw a book in 30 days, we can't hire you. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's like, if you can't deliver it in a month, we can't use you. And that's all there was to it. They would let guys who artists just walk right back out the door who can't use it. Look. Art Adams is the very first guy they fucking bent the rules for. And
Art Adams in the early, when I was working with him, they were annual. So that he would do annuals, like X-Men annuals, things like that. So there was a little bit more time
even
that they
with
could
Long
give him.
Shot, though, I think 6 months on the first issue or something.
Well, that was really early on. Yeah, that was before they really knew what they had there. But once he was established and they knew he could sell books, yeah, they definitely bent to the schedule for that guy.
You guys know he was one of those guys. They used to have this book called Marvel Age, and they would do like show the of somebody who was
Up
like
and comer?
not the tryout, but like they were sending in their samples. So they'd show their samples. Art was in one of those sections.
Hal Baker was too.
Yeah.
Well, quick story. Like I came up the ranks with Art Adams. I think Chris knows Art Nichols. So there was Southern California and Northern California. So there was Rob Liefeld and myself, and so we were Southern California. And then Northern California was Art Adams and Art Nichols. And so every once in a while, as cons were, we would kind of cross over. And I just remember because they were kind of a team. So all of Art's early drawings, Art Adams, Nichols would throw some inks over. And I remember seeing that stuff and just going, holy shit. Like even then it was absolutely fantastic. So then you kind of drop out of, like, those guys go on, they start working. So, we stop hanging out. And I think I think Nichols moved to New York.
I was his assistant.
Yeah. And then, you see their, like, long shot, or you see these comic books that they're working on, and you're like, holy shit, they made it. Another
Art used to do a ton of work, like too much work. I mean, he would have like 6 books on his desk at one time.
If it wasn't for Art Adams or Art Nichols, I wouldn't be working in the business right now. I went just greenhorn, I think they call it, and I went to New York City, pounded on doors, trying to get work, and just getting turned down by everybody at Marvel. And then Nichols saw me there, and this is the first time I've seen him since the convention times. And it's like, oh man, you're working in the business. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to get work now. And so I told him my story. No one here at Marvel wants me. And so he goes, we'll share a cap. I got to turn some stuff in over at DC Comics. So, you can't get in there unless you know somebody, so he could get in. And so he goes, you're in DC Comics now, do your thing. So I got my portfolio and I just bopped around all the different offices, and Robert Greenberger said, what do you want to do here? So he hired me right off the bat. And then later that night, I got ink work from Marvel. So I got ink work at Marvel, and I got pencil work at DC on the same day. So,
Stud.
It worked out.
I have a question for you. Was Rob Liefeld trying to do Art Adams in the beginning, or Todd McFarlane? Because I've heard people say both.
I think
one or the other.
It was a little bit more Art Adams at the beginning. And so then I remember the whole transition, because I had an apartment in Huntington Beach, and so Rob he's quite a bit younger, so I think he was still in high school. So he would come over in the evening time, and we'd work out of the apartment. And remember when you were young, anytime you could get out of your parents' house,
yes, yep.
And so then we would just draw, and I was working on the Warlord at the time for DC Comics, and so we'd be working, and so then he started getting work. Like I think he did like a bonus book, and apparently it was Warlord. It was the Warlord. And if you look at that Warlord bonus book that Rob did, all those backgrounds are swipes from my Warlord run. He was just like kind of aping them. And so he got in, And actually, Hawk and Dove is a job that I recommended for him because they offered it to me. And so I said, Rob. And so then he's working on Hawk and Dove. I'm doing Warlord, whatever. And so then he starts hanging out with Todd McFarlane. And so then all of a sudden, Rob knows everything. He's got the key to comic books, right? He knows how to do them. And he's like, the only way you can make money in comics is you have to do multiple books a month. Look at the only guys that are making money is McFarlane and Ron Lim. So he's saying this stuff, and I'm like, I just want to draw comics and get paid. Like, I was still going to school. I wanted to learn how to draw, and he's like, you know what, Art? All you have to do is get a system, stick with the system, and then get more proficient at it and faster at it. He goes, all that other stuff he does. He goes, it doesn't matter. And so,
technically,
you think about philosophy. I mean, that's
worked well.
That's exactly Rob. Yeah, from that day, he figured it out. This is what I'm going to do, and he dedicated everything he had to that. And he was able to bang out a lot of work, and then jockey position to get better books, which is exactly what Todd did. And I knew at the time this wasn't coming from Rob. Like, Rob wasn't making this up. And so then later I found out he was hanging out with a guy named Todd McFarlane. And I was like, it's that guy. That's the guy. Yeah. So it worked out for
that
both
makes
of
a lot of
us.
sense. Yeah.
It worked out.
Kind of. A little, yeah.
Yeah, but I told you before, I heard it from Art Nichols that he was at lunch with McFarlane, and McFarlane said, he said, I'm going to be the first comic book artist to make $1 million. And everyone, it was all professionals, and every single person at the table laughed at him. And he did it like the next year.
Yeah. But,
that's the thing is like goals, like there you could set humble goals, like, I'm just going to do an extra panel every day, or whatever, and then there's like really ambitious goals. It's like, I'm going to make $1 million by the end of this year. And the thing is, once you dedicate yourself to that, and you have a tangible goal, it's just a matter of dedicating yourself to that and working towards it. And that's it, because I've seen those guys, just incredible drive, incredible ambition. Some of them a little bit more talented than others, but either way, it didn't stop them.
No, I used to write. He used to just draw a book, basically like the way that Giffen does it. He would just draw a book, just leave pages on the floor, and draw more pages until he had enough to make a comic, and kind of rearrange them and then write a story over them. And there's nothing wrong with that if you've got the imagination for it. But he, Todd never sat down and fucking wrote a script. No.
Well, I asked Kelly Corvisi about McFarlane. He said he was hard to deal with, but he said, he would have made $1 million no matter what he was doing, whether he was selling cars or washing windows. He would have been the guy who franchised the washing window, company.
And the thing about when people say hard to get along, what the translation really is if you have a person that knows what they want and has
and their worth,
and they know what they're worth, then they usually get that, you're a troublemaker, you're whatever, and really all it is that they're not going to listen to you. You know what I mean? They're going to do what they want to do, and for right or wrong, and that's usually what that means. Like, they're just hard to get along with. He's got a point of view. Yeah.
Especially those days, if you asked for more money, like in the office, that was like a big deal. And because if you wait for your fucking raise, you're just never going to get it. And I would just go in and say, look, I want this, and they were like, no. I was like, well, that's Marvel's giving me that. And so if you got to give it to me, I'm not going to stay. And then you just do that whole back and forth thing, where, you get, that's the only way to get your rates up is like, no, you're going to pay it, and then, because if you sit around waiting for it, they'll just never, ever give it to you. It's, it's the breadcrumbs that they always, just enough.
Well, just about rates. Like, also I was talking to Pamela, my wife the other day, and she's like, I was like, what did I start at? And she's like, I think you told me you started at like $65 a page.
Yeah, I remember.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, because I think we were talking about how the prices of everything have just gone up, like within the last year. And so then I was like, I left DC at $220 a page. And you think that's a 40-year career. 40 years, that's not a lot. You know what I mean? Especially based on how many hours we work and how much dedication. $200 is nothing. Like I should have been making that like 20 years ago. And it's just crazy how really humble the comics industry is, and how really in the real world, Marvel and DC should just be considering themselves the luckiest businesses in the world, because basically they're paying slave labor, to talent to do a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
And then you look at how still they screw it up. Like their overhead is next to nothing, but they butchered it. They butchered it because they don't care.
They spend more money on lunch than they do paying freelancers.
Yeah, dude. That's one of the reasons I never tried out, dude. Like,
like
when I was graduating animation school, like I looked into rates. It's like, dude, okay, I come from the third world, but I'm a capitalist, and this is like, nah, dude. Like, I mean, I get paid like an animator will get paid like $75 by a foot of animation, which is like 8 drawings. And I can do like 8 drawings of animation per se, like rough animation, in less than an hour. So it was just like, dude, like I love comic books, like I love buying them, but I felt bad for comic book artists. Like, dude, the rates were insane. It's not.
It really is, and this is the exploitation part. Is that there are people like us that just absolutely love it. You know, like we eat and breathe. I mean, we started off saying, we would get these comics. We don't read them anymore. But deep down, I mean, we're still like huge comic book fans. Yeah. You know, we just figure out what we really want to read versus just reading everything. You know, I think we're more selective than not comic book fans. You know what I mean? Like we're just more selective with what we read. And for me, it's just a matter of time. Like I don't have time to read everything.
Also, when you grow up, you start making a living and everything. You know, when you're young, you're on a budget, and you can only read the cream of the crop. So, you don't spend money on a comic book you haven't heard of. That doesn't.
Well, especially today because they're so expensive.
Yeah, and then like if you actually have like an income and you could theoretically buy everything that's out, you quickly realize it's not worth buying everything that's out. Yeah.
This is crazy. So Chris says Parasites are always the most costly. The same happens to us in video game development industry. We work 90 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't even be shocked. I at least put that in hours a week for 50 to 75K a year.
Yeah.
That's if you're
game
lucky.
industry was bad.
And that's if you're lucky.
Yeah, and the average American income is dropping.
Yeah.
In 2 years, it's going to 36 or something. So it's at 37 now. So,
but speaking of cream of the crop, do you guys want to talk about this news story about Hickman and Brian Hitch's ultimate reunion?
Yeah,
I see the corpse twitching.
Let's drag this dead horse out and see if we can get a little more life out of it.
Yeah.
Who killed Ultimates? Like, wasn't Ultimate like the best part of Marvel for years?
Yeah.
It was
the same writer wrote
the
finish. Yeah.
And then did sales start to drop, or did Marvel not want it around because of Marvel the movies?
Part of it was that they did storylines where they basically killed off characters and they worked themselves into a hole where the universe was just crap.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. Is they killed off so many characters that there wasn't anything left cool about it.
Yeah, like they broke the world so badly. It was like we just gotta wipe the slate clean.
Oh, is that with the Finch's Ultimate Avengers or whatever it was?
Yeah, Ultimate. I think it was that like Ultimate Annihilation or something like that.
Yeah, with Magneto and stuff.
And they basically broke the world.
You know,
I remember getting a Finch issue or two.
Yeah, I was brought in on the Ultimate line like before it even launched, right? So I remember talking to Bob Harris about it and things like that. And then I found a comrade in arms, which was Mark Bagley, and so we started talking about like the Ultimate line. And so Bagley had this observation that, John Byrne had just done year 1 of Spider-Man, and it didn't do very well. So he was thinking like this retelling of Spider-Man wasn't going to work. He was wrong, but we both kind of agreed at the time that it's like, give it 3 or 4 issues, then we'll be looking for work again. But one of the observations I had was like, it was like, well, we're going to relaunch a universe, right? We're going to retell the Marvel universe as far as like, and we're going to call it the Ultimate line. And so I remember talking to him and said, eventually we'll get back to the same point, because of the convolution. And they're saying, there's just too many storylines, like kids today, they don't, they can't just jump into a Spider-Man book and enjoy it because of all the history and all that. I yell foul. I always have. I don't think that that's true. But anyways, that was the creative reason to launch the Ultimates, right? But eventually they were going to get back to square one, right? They were going to create so much continuity that nobody was going to be able to keep up with it. The writers were going to start screwing it up, just like inevitably everything goes down that line. You cannot control these things. And so, now we're back to where you guys were talking about, where it's like, well, we're just going to have to, like nuke it because it's unmanageable.
Art, did you guys immediately start on a 2-week schedule? Like a book every 2 weeks? Was that right from the beginning on Spider-Man?
I was
Ultimate
on
Spider-Man?
that schedule because I was inking Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Spider-Man every month. So I always had that schedule. But yeah, I think it was about a year into it that we went twice a month.
Quick question, Art. What is the maximum number of pages you've inked in 30 days?
I've never done the math.
Because you just said that was like 2 books in a month.
How I always did it, just so I didn't get overloaded, is I would go, okay, if it's 2 books a month, I had to ink 2 pages a day. If it was 3 books, I had to ink 3 pages. So I never went like ultimate page count because I would just get overwhelmed.
But have you inked 3 full books in 1 month before?
Oh yeah.
But like just yourself, no assistants, nobody helping?
When I started, I was inking Ultimate Spider-Man in either it was either Jim Lee, Walter Simonson, or Art Adams. And so I always had 2 books.
Right.
Wow.
But you've inked probably 60 pages in 1 month before at some point?
Easy.
60 pages. Yeah, easy. We were under like deadline bind, and I wanted to save the story if Jimmy Reyes came in, but between me and the studio, we did 8 pages of Ultimate X-Men in 1 day.
Wow. My God.
Wow.
We did them and got them out on the same day.
See, that brings up a question for all you professionals out there. Like, this is an issue that I have with writers, but bringing that up with artists, when your attention is split on so many different projects, none of them are getting your full attention. So you think like that reduces the quality on a lot of things, because like, especially for writers, man, like at one point, I think during the whole Marvel Legacy era, Brian Michael Bendis was writing 8 books. It's like, there's no freaking way you're going to put quality work out when you're stretched that thin.
Well, writing is there's way more shortcuts you can take with writing, because you can start, you can, especially if you're working at Marvel, you can go, well, I'm just going to start writing, like Marvel style, like, okay, this is the beginning, middle, and end of this page. You don't even have to write panels out, just go and plot, kind of thing.
That was also around the time that they started stretching these stories out, where they were really
long form.
And that's a big cheat.
Fit into 3 story-wise.
Yeah. That's a big cheat for writers, is when you start stretching these storylines out.
But the thing is, well, again, that's a quality issue right there. Like, that was terrible to me. When you're taking,
but there were people like Marv Wolfman or Lynn Wein and Chris Claremont. There were guys that were doing 3 books, plus a month, even in the day.
And having
that stuff was
an entire
inspired.
storyline in one issue that has a beginning,
Okay,
middle, and end.
3 books a day. And like, I'm talking like some of these guys are doing 4, 5, 6 plus books. There's no freaking way you're doing quality work like that.
Oh yeah, I agree. But I mean,
Writing's
writers
still
can
so
do
much
multiple.
easier, dude.
Yeah.
30
But
days, right?
but then take that and now apply that to art. You know, like when you said you knocked out the like 8 pages in a day. Like, do you think the quality was like came down because you broke out that many of them a day?
No,
there was no shortcuts. You didn't have to.
But the thing is, and you guys all, like Rob knows, you guys all know, like there's a certain level as a professional that you'll bring whether you have 10 hours on a page or you have 3 hours on a page. So usually you can tell, but most people can't, you know? So, and the thing is, this is how I like to do stuff like that. If I have a way is where it's not like 8 pages in a row, because then you can kind of judge it, because then you go, well, the first third of the book looked this way, and then the last third looked like this. So that's one thing you never want to do. So hopefully you're working with pencilers that are going out of order or whatever, because then you can, you can have like the interspersed, you can have the good and bad. It only really is apparent when there's just a big chunk of that stuff, you know. But if there's one every once in a while, it's not too bad, you know.
When I worked at CrossGen, Bart Sears looked at my pages and would watch how I would work, and he'd just laugh and go, "Yeah, you're never going to make any money." Because my approach, you know, he's like, either you learn to just grab the brush and ink everything in the brush. He goes, you can't stop and look at it and go, you know, this texture would look better with a pen nib, or this texture is either you just do it all or you know, and I'm just like, oh, damn it.
Rob, I forgot that you had worked at CrossGen. Can we get a CrossGen story? Because I was down in Florida for something, and I went and got a tour of their studio, and this is probably like 98, 99, somewhere, maybe 2000. And like that studio was pretty impressive. There was, I think the only person in there when I went through was Jimmy Chung. But like, you know, like there was all the little, you know, the
cubicles.
The cubicles and all the colors set up, and everybody was like, he had all the artwork that he had bought. I mean, he had just insane artwork on the walls of originals.
He had Conan #1. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
He had all the artwork to Conan #1 on the back wall.
Wow.
Can we get a little CrossGen story?
Well, there's a couple different styles of CrossGen stories. There's the style of it was so fun to work with a bunch of people that are your friends.
Yeah.
And you're all talking comics, and you're like, hey, let's go to lunch. And then we're all younger. At that point, only Andy Smith and Bart were married, and a lot of us were single. We're like, well, let's just go to the mall and walk around, and then we'll, you know, hit the food court. So that was fun, you know, and then we come back an hour and a half later, and they're like, oh, long lunch today? And I would just look at them and go, well, I work at home on the weekend, so it doesn't really matter when I punch in or when I punch out. And I'd always get a dirty look. And then there's the times when the boss would go up and down the aisle, Mark Alessi, and say how we were winning. And we would just like look at like the top 100 and go, how the fuck are we winning? How are we winning? Look at we all came from the industry. We're not brand new. We know what Marvel and DC are kicking our ass. Like if there's like the best selling book was Sojourn. Yeah. And so that would sometimes make it in the top 15 or the top 10. But all the other stuff was like, you know, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So even no matter what the boss would do and how much money he would spend, the morale was horrible. Really? We all had fun, but the morale of the company overall was really bad because we all loved working there and we knew it wouldn't last.
There was no big hit to like. Really.
No, there was a point when we expanded and everyone's looking at us going, why did we buy the office space next door? We're in this office space next door. We never actually technically moved in there. We start hearing about money trouble. and I'm sitting on the floor and my cell phone is vibrating. Mark is telling us that we can now take on freelance work. We're not exclusive anymore. And he wanted to do that so that people wouldn't always have to say yes to the check. He wanted people to be able to skip checks. As he's telling us this, my phone's ringing, and I've got an editor on the phone trying to get a hold of me to sign me up to a signing bonus for a deal. And I'm just like, oh, perfect timing. Because I love being there, but if you're going to tell me I have to ask for my check every 2 weeks, I'm not going to be around for long. I love comic books and I love working there, but I also know that if I can't pay the rent, I get my ass kicked out. And I was one of the lower paid artists, so I was always living check to check anyways. So I'm like, hey, if you're going to tell me to skip a check, then I'm going to see, I went to San Diego last summer and I met lots of people, and lots of people came up to my table and said, hey, are you exclusive? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, well, here's my card just in case. So,
well, just know, Rob, like the entire outside looking in CrossGen, everybody was really envious of you guys because it's like you knew where your next check was coming from.
Yes.
You kind of had some guarantees and things.
And
like
insurance,
that.
health insurance.
But we all knew that it wasn't going to last because the universe was so limited. The creative parameters of the universe was so. It wasn't
creative. The first 4 issues were not creative.
Yeah, it wasn't creative, and I kind of applauded that there weren't going to be any superheroes and stuff like that. But I think some of the mandates were very limited, and it wasn't really market oriented. It seemed like it was more what that guy personally wanted.
Yes,
that's kind
exactly what it was. Yeah,
and you had so many creative people there. I think if he would have just went, okay, I have this going, but I'm going to give some of these guys creative carte blanche to create stuff, right?
And that's where the best books.
I think it would have changed. It could have changed everything.
And give the creators a little piece of the action and stuff they created.
Of course.
Hey, you're going to get a regular check. Plus, if this blows up, you're going to get a piece of it.
Well, that was his promise. He thought his promise to tell us that we would always have a job was a fantastic promise. And we're like, I don't want to be 85 years old and hunched over a table working on whatever shitty fill-in issue you want to throw me. So there's guys there. They're like, that's not a. I told Bart, I go, that's a terrible promise. I go, you got guys here that right now, because of how CrossGen hyped them, they can go do covers for everybody else and make more money than CrossGen pays them just drawing covers and selling those covers, because CrossGen artwork didn't sell that well either. So it was a really, it was a little short-sighted. They even their business model was set up that the boss was worth like 4 times as much money when they set up how much they could lose a year. But then 2001 came and he lost 3/4 of his fortune. But they kept with the same plan. They said, well, they still said for those, we can still lose the same amount of money. And they just thought that things would, the sales would pick up, sales would get going, and things would be better. And I talked to guys who were there from day one with the first 3 or 4 books, and they're like, dude, they're like, if you think it's stressful today, they're like, you would have been shocked at what it was like when the sales for those first couple of books came in, and they were next to nothing. Wow. They had already spent the money on the office space and all the fancy furniture and stuff. They're like, you should have seen what it was like, the look on people's faces when those sales were complete shit. Because the first books were like Meridian, the little girl book. Oh god. The first, which was Sigil. Remember Sigil with the Lay Brothers or whatever those guys were? Like their first work of professional work. Yeah. Like the stuff was so weak. The stuff like when Chuck Dixon came in and they did Negation, when Tony Bedard came in and he was working on Negation, he had carte blanche on Negation because Tom had because Mark had no idea what he even wanted negation to be. So he kept it. He didn't put any input in. So Tony Bernard would sit in the cubicle and talk to his artists, and the colorist, pencil and inker. He's like, "What should we do for the next 6 issues?" And they would all just throw in ideas, and that was negation was almost everyone's favorite book.
Yeah,
because of that. Because
the thing is, that guy that
Mhm.
ran it, was his name Mark? What was it?
Marco
Lassi, and he was a very good salesman. He was really bitter about trying to sell
But
to
the
comic book stores.
the thing is, he didn't understand the market at all.
No,
because he turned it into vanity press. That's all
Yes.
it was. It was just
Mhm.
like a rich guy that had some ideas, that thought he could hire some really, really good talent, and they could manifest his ideas. But the thing is, he didn't understand the market. So you have to create things that the market will want. One thing is usually like superheroes sell, right? But Westerns don't, right? Or like sword and sorcery things don't do very well, or like there's certain niche things that in comics, romance, like there's certain things that just they do okay, but they don't do great, right? And so like if you think about Image comic books, like one of the things that those guys did is they kind of did IP that was closely related to the IPs that they left at Marvel and DC.
That made them successful.
That was by design, because they knew that there was a market not only for them, but for them doing this type of book. You know what I mean? So it made sense from a business standpoint. But if you get a guy in there that isn't really a comic book guy and has a lot of what he thinks are good ideas, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. It isn't going to work. Like Conan is always going to sell what Conan does. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like a top 10 book. It's never going to be that. A lot of people will enjoy it, but it's never going to be that. Like Heroes for Hire is never going to be an X-Men book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's certain things in the market that are what they are. So if you're going to try to create something as an overall like mandate for a universe, try to find stuff like templates for things that are popular, at least initially, and then kind of gear up something that simulates that. Like that's a need. Try to fill that need. And then every once in a while you can put, something in there that's a little bit more esoteric or a little bit, off center, but you have to have success. And if you don't have success, it's eventually that you're gonna fall apart. Yeah, it's a shame because I really did applaud that, and I was approached too, and I seriously thought about it, but I was like, I was kind of like you, Rob, where it almost felt a little too like, yeah, but what about my identity, and what about my ability to be a freelancer and to shop myself around and be open and available to the industry and stuff like that. So. I was, and it seems a little too good to be true. Like, we'll take care of everything, your housing, your whatever. And,
They wouldn't have been able to pay you either, Art. They wouldn't have been able to pay you what you were making for doing 2 pages a day, or even 3 pages a day. They wouldn't have paid that. So they might have talked to you, but they realistically, unless they decided, Art because the whole thing was you only have to do 1 book a month, but it's not like they're going to pay you it like you were doing 2 books a month for Marvel or DC. So most of the guys who said yes to it were guys who couldn't do a monthly book anyways. I mean, Bart, Jimmy Chong, I had to kill myself to do a book a month. So, nothing changed going to CrossGen except for now I gotta check every 2 weeks. And I did make more money. Yeah, insurance. Yeah, but my rent and everything else went way up, so I pretty much was making the same amount of money, but with health insurance.
Yeah, so I gotta read this because Old Dirty Fatty says, "Damn it, Art, stop talking trash about that." No, I love the book. I love
Yeah.
I love John Buscema doing. I love when Barry Windsor Smith was all that stuff. It's classic. I gave those guys my money. I put it down. But the thing is, those books just never, traditionally, they never really sold that well.
No.
If you want to sell Conan, don't sell in comic book stores.
Wait, Todd's going to say something.
In their period, when they did the whole line, they had the Solomon Kane and black and white books and stuff. They were because they were internationally selling. They were selling in Europe really, really well.
Or the
So
Black
it was one of their better lines.
magazine. No, that was on
The magazine, The Savage Sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
showed
Yeah.
titties in that too.
I,
But I don't know what Rob is what Rob's describing to me is like the whole like white van scenario. Like it sounds too good to be true, and there's a van in chloroform at some point. They're gonna take you away. Like yeah.
Well, I'm glad Rob survived.
Yeah.
I survived the chloroform.
The chloroform.
That whole thing just sounds like a cautionary tale, you know.
yeah,
The thing is it had the opportunity to where he had so much money going in if you would have had a different business model.
Yes.
And the thing is, if somebody came in right now with that kind of money, like comics, like the big two, like comic shops are desperate for content.
Yeah.
Like content they can sell.
dude, a lot
If
of
something like that happened right now, it might actually have a chance.
No, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't, because a lot of the guys that came out of CrossGen, they came to work at my company, which was just another CrossGen.
Oh,
Another guy with a ton of money, and we picked up guys from CrossGen like Jim Fern, guys like that, and you know, Chuck Dixon even came on for a little bit, and we even had Jim Shooter working for us for a year.
Wow.
And it was and everybody that came from CrossGen said, this is just another CrossGen.
oh really?
Well,
Because I was theoretically in charge of creative, and my money guy was just a money guy, and he had a lot of money, but he was a fucking asshole of tremendous
Epic proportions.
Yeah. And you know, and he was in the way of anybody getting anything done. But he had ideas about, like, you know, like we'll get a ranch and everyone will work there.
Oh my God.
And you know, he wanted
Every comic book company needs a ranch.
Dude, the guy from Penthouse, remember Penthouse Comics? He bought a ranch house. We were going to do the same thing. You know?
Oh wow.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
the
have
thing
a
is,
ranch.
like the comics industry,
And you're gonna bring your wives.
It's not that hard to do the market research. Like, you got to keep it lean and mean. Like, if you just look at Marvel's success story, keep it lean and mean. Keep the overhead next to nothing, and just try to create things that you know are going to stick. You know, try to create things that you know that there's an audience for. And then once you kind of build something that's kind of solid, then you can take some chances. You know, then you can throw stuff in there. But I got to address, people are getting down on me because of this whole Conan thing. And
real quick question from the chat, Chris, is what was the name of the company that you were in charge
Big
of?
Tank Entertainment.
Big Ten Entertainment. Okay.
Cool. But yeah, as far as Conan, I mean, the magazine stuff was the magazine stuff, and the European stuff was the European stuff. Fine. But I'll tell you something. John Buscema didn't see $1 from that European sales. I almost guarantee you, because European or any kind of foreign sales at Marvel, non-existent, baby.
No,
non-existent. Yeah.
We never paid.
Go read the fine print in your contract.
That's what I like of the situation we're in right now, guys, because there's no cult, no tent, and our wives don't have to reproduce with the cult leader for us to make comics. So that's something that we should appreciate and value. That we
Keep
are
drinking that water,
Pedro's not one of us.
I want to
Root out
mention
the-
something.
Shun the unbeliever.
I like drunk Pedro.
The comment about Skywalker Ranch for comics. A buddy of mine worked. He did some stuff at Skywalker Ranch for George Lucas. And think about it. The guy who did the designs for the first of the new digital Star Wars movies, you know, the guy with the horns, the evil, the red face. I always forget his name. Darth Maul. The guy who designed Darth Maul, it's not like he was getting a royalty check or he got a check. He got paid well to draw it and do the designs. Yeah. And then when George Lucas didn't feel like making a movie or work on a movie, he had to haul his ass down to the Los Angeles to get more work. Yeah. So it's not like Skywalker Ranch just pays all those guys until Lucas wants to do another movie. So they're just like Marvel. It's
work
the
for
same
hire.
thing.
It's just
Yeah.
work for hire.
I'd
Yeah.
rather work
And
at
there's
skate
no
park for rent.
ownership. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no ownership to it. So anything you do, especially if you worked under like a house, like in an environment like that, you're more likely to get ripped off because it's implied that anything you draw, anything that's on that drawing board is theirs.
Yeah.
So if you just F around with a doodle and something like that, and some
It's
executive comes by and looks at it and goes, "Oh my gosh, it's a great design."
Yeah.
Yeah, they own it. They'll own it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a real catch-22 about these things, but thank goodness CG and we're doing our own thing.
Mhm.
I still I still think a CG ranch would work.
I mean, thank you, Frankie says I should start a CG bunny.
Let me believe
That's an excellent idea because I live right next to Columbia. So it's going to be freaking amazing. And the girls are going to be top notch, guys.
Just let me believe
Bob just wants to see the freak show of all of us living like a frat house.
Like to hang out with everybody. It's like
That's what
this is
conventions
living the
are
dream,
for.
man.
Well,
We still gotta like all meet up for a convention at some point. That's what
Oh
conventions
god,
are
that's
for.
gonna be chaos.
That'll
You
be
don't want
Bob's
that on a weekly
dream.
basis.
Yeah,
Lots of people are- Lots of people are coming to Tampa.
Debauchery.
yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
people are coming to Tampa. So.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
Clint's over
right
here
now,
thinking-
though. Hey, Bob, I'll tell you right now. If I had to live with Rob, I love Rob to pieces, but I would probably kill him.
No, across the street. Across the street.
Oh, we would have blocks. We'd have blocks.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
We'd have neighborhoods like CG.
Yes. I would just wave to you.
Everybody will have their own little bungalow. They can go off and be.
Oh, I
by
like
themselves.
that idea. Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
like a frat house. Like
It'd be like the Catskills, but just for comic nerds.
like we have
Art's
one cow.
figuring that they got like bunk beds and like
I get top bunk.
Then at midnight, you're going to be somebody like calling up a
Inkers
dead
don't
hooker at
get
the
a top
bungalow.
bunk.
It's like, who's that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
that-
god. Yeah, Clint Slower is like that. Yeah, this convention's gonna be all. He thinks we're gonna be like rock stars. Like, dude, it's a bunch of old men.
There's a bunch of old men.
It's like we're gonna be eating, drinking Metamucil, but like, guys, it's like it's too late. It's 9:30. Yeah, man, I'm up past bedtime, bro.
How dare you? How dare you? But just like always, we never get to the topic. So anybody that's been watching Pontificators for a while realizes that never really does happen. Although, can somebody sum up the transformation of the Marvel with the new Hitch? Is it Hickman and Hitch?
Hickman, they're leaning on Hickman a big time because he's not just doing this.
I'll sum it up. Who cares?
It feels kind of like desperation.
Brian Hitch hasn't drawn anything that anybody's cared about in like 15 to 20 years.
And
What
it's
are you
weird that
talking about? That's not
This is
true.
a sincere yawn.
Dude, Brian Hitch has drawn a lot of stuff that's been awesome.
Yeah,
He's
he
coming
did.
off of Venom, and it was great.
Was it?
Yes.
yeah, it was pretty good. That was pretty good.
I just don't
I
see
mean-
him drawing Venom. Like,
Then
where
he
does he get his
did
photo
a
references
Green
from the
Lantern.
movies?
He did.
Does he still pre-sell his pages where he puts up the script for the book and people buy it?
I
By
have
the
no
script?
idea.
Oh, I know he was doing that on Ultimates.
I mean,
You could
it
buy
makes
you could buy a
gosh.
page.
It makes
I'm
sense
reading
for
this
Hitch to
now.
go back to Ultimates because that was like the last time that he like.
Well, that's the plan. That's what this is. But I'm looking at the date here. It says comics for the 2000s. Like it's been 20 years since I worked on these Ultimate books.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ari.
2015 was when they officially killed the universe when they did that whole Battle World thing.
Oh yeah, it says
Battle
2015.
War.
The
Secret Wars, yeah, where they did the whole
no, was
Battle
it
World.
Secret Invasion or
No, it was a new version of Secret Wars, and then basically Doom becomes God, and he, creates this like
The
this
Maker.
one universe.
The-
The Maker, yeah. There's
Yeah,
only
Chris, this is the Ultimate Universe, which kind of parallels the.
I had I bought the omnibus, but I don't.
yeah,
think
and it's interesting because this what they're doing is they're actually kind of doing an idea that I thought that they should have done a long time ago because there's technically only two pieces of the Ultimate Universe that are unaltered. Everything else that was brought over from that universe was altered and changed. The only two things that weren't was Miles Morales and the Maker. So I always said if you wanted to relaunch the Ultimate Universe, which I don't think is a great idea, but that's the way you should do it because you got two pieces of it unaltered. So.
Well, who's the maker? Is it this guy in the foreground?
It's an evil version. Side? Yeah, it's the guy with the helmet. He's an evil version of Reed Richards.
Okay. So he's all happy there, and Reed Richards looks like he's okay with it.
Yeah.
So
well, he wants to get. Well, he's the whole. That was kind of his plan in the universe as well. He was going to remake it in his own image. So now he can do that.
I thought the Ultimates was absolutely fantastic. Like I thought it was groundbreaking. The storytelling was very, very cinematic. I thought it was edgy without being, I guess, too edgy. To the point of it still being accessible, and I thought it was interesting that there was no use of sound effects. Like there's no sound effects in the Ultimates book, so it's a soundless universe. I thought it was weird, but it kind of worked for what they were doing, you know.
Very
more
close to the hearing impaired. Yeah.
Isn't that where they went to the all letterbox panels and everything, and basically they were like film pitches, all the books.
Yeah, the panel layouts looked more like cinematic, like they were long and horizontal.
Well, if you really think about
storyboards,
the majority of the MCU is basically built around this version of Marvel.
They used a lot of Hitch and Miller's Ultimates for the original Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
Especially just like the look and the vibe of it.
Yeah.
Like the Captain
Nick
America
Fury
costume, the early Iron Man armor.
Yeah. Nick Fury's the obvious one, but there was one scene in the Ultimates I thought was inspired where like Bruce Banner didn't want to change into the Hulk, and they were up in this helicopter, and they just throw Bruce Banner out of the helicopter because they know like the Hulk isn't going to let him die, right? So then he transforms when he, before he hits the ground, and then he just rages, he just rages on. And then, what was there one where they wanted to calm him down? They had an ace in the hole. It was Janet, is it Van Dyne or whatever her name is?
Like fly into his ear or something.
Yeah, but before that, doesn't she show her boobs? Like she
flashed him. Yeah,
she flashed him.
Because it was when he was doing that, when he was raging like that, didn't he have like this where he was like freaking out because Betty was dating Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah,
and he's like, I hate, and the Hulk's like, hate Freddie Prinze Jr. Hulk's horny.
Mark Miller is so great for just throwing like celebrity names or name dropping the crap out of his comments.
Yeah.
But anyways, this looks interesting to me. If I see it, I'll probably pick it up. I don't know about Jonathan Hickman. I do like some of the stuff he does, but he's kind of like Stephen King to me. He brings up interesting ideas, but he doesn't have good endings. Like he doesn't resolve things in a real satisfactory way. And that's the only fault I find with Hickman. But it would be interesting to see, those two work together.
Well, Hickman's it's weird because it seems like they're kind of Hickman came in and did that whole big restructuring of the X-Men and everything, and then things kind of went sour on that after about a year and a half, and he just kind of fell off of it. Now it seems like that they're hitching everything to him because he's doing this, but he's also taking over Avengers. So it's
did Hickman do that Thor run with Asgard coming to the Earth and all that?
No, that was fucking great.
Who wrote that? Was good stuff.
Really dang it. Was it Aaron?
Jason Aaron?
I think
was it Jason Aaron?
Yeah.
That was some interesting stuff, But going back to the Ultimates, there was some stuff that I thought that the movies, if they could have done it, it would have been. If they could have done it more like the comic, it would have been better. Because one of the things that they introduced in the Ultimates is that Thor, they thought he was just a nut job. Like they didn't think he was really Thor, like the Norse god, right? So everybody's kind of discrediting him, but they're kind of humoring him to get him because he's a powerful dude, right? Like they want him on their side. So they're just kind of placating him and humoring him. And then it turns out like Loki was one of the the deceivers behind everything, like because there'd be situations where Thor would be talking to one of the other Asgardians, like in a public place, but for some reason, the other Avengers couldn't see who he was talking to, so it just seemed like he was talking to himself. And so I thought that was really cool, and they kind of brought that in to the Thor movie, the first one, where there was kind of like they all thought, oh yeah, you're Thor, you're the thunder god, so they all kind of like, nah, you're not really, and then they kind of like, oh shit, he is, it wasn't done as well as the comic, but the comic, they had more time, they had more time to develop it and things like that.
Even though the story, the storyline was terrible, one of my favorite runs on Ultimate was when Joe Mad came in and did the artwork on it. Oh, it's so friggin' pretty, man.
That's when Jeff Loeb took over.
Yeah, and it was such a terrible story because that's when they were like it was like Wanda and Pedro were like straight up having sex with each other, and it's like,
I couldn't get
that's messed up. But the artwork in those books, on all of those Ultimate books, the artwork was always really, really good.
I thought it was a weird, like they went from like Brian Hitch, who's really cinematically realistic and grounded, and then they go to Joe Mad. I thought it was
jarring as hell.
That's a hard shift.
Yeah.
I thought maybe if it was a mini series unto itself or something, you could get away with that.
Just start a different series or something. Yeah, don't go issue to issue.
That's when Joe Mad's artwork really leveled up, though. Like it's super stylized. It's one of those art styles where you.
How many issues did he get out? That's like the last stuff he did,
like
right?
10 or something like that. But
that's
really?
I'd be shocked if it was 10.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 2.5.
This is like post Battle Chasers, right?
Yeah.
This was after.
Yeah, I would say 2.5 seems more likely.
No, it was more than that. It was
maybe 3.
Yeah, it was
maybe more than that.
It was long enough. It was long enough.
I can guarantee it wasn't 10.
It was Rob's the realist. He's like, maybe 2.5.
It was long enough that they did 2 storylines, so it was at least 5 or 6.
I tried so hard with that, Bob. Like I couldn't get past the writing. It was just
it was pretty bad. It's probably the worst stuff that Jeff Love's ever done.
And even his Hush, the Batman stuff, I thought like, it's okay. But what he did is it was complete and utter like fan service.
No,
it was kind of pandering, but at the same time, it really worked.
Well, that whole
because
idea,
also it's like giving Jim Lee everything to draw. You know what I mean? Like here's the Joker, here's the Riddler, here's Sandman, here's all these characters.
Here's a double-page Killer Croc splash page, and just design Croc however you want to make him look cool.
Yeah,
just do whatever you want.
And it freaking worked.
I think that storyline is when the Ultimate Universe really started going downhill.
With the Joe Mad stuff?
With the Jeff Loeb and that Jeff Loeb, like that's when all the books really started like crashing and burning.
You know what started off strong is the Ultimate Fantastic Four. I thought it was a pretty fresh original take, and that was Bendis and Miller working on that, and that was Hitch, or was that
Hitch was doing the art,
or was that
the beginning part was Hitch.
Kubert? Was that Hitch or Kubert that did?
Hitch was doing that.
Okay.
Joe Kubert took over on the artwork for X-Men, I think.
Well, he launched X-Men. We launched that together. So he launched it, and then Finch came in.
I think didn't he go to Ultimate when they did the Vision thing and all that stuff? I think he did like one of the other side books or something.
Maybe. He pissed me off and I stopped following him.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and it's like getting back to this. It's weird that it almost feels like they're like, hey, we got to do something to like really drum something up here because so it's like let's relaunch the Ultimate Universe and we'll put Hickman on Avengers too, and it's like
That's exactly what it is. They're just going back to the well because they have no ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Just
probably
read
paying
that.
those guys a
Because
bunch of money,
I
and
don't know.
it's good. I mean, I'm intrigued because I thought that stuff was really, really well done. But I do have to ask: we got the Ultimate Spider-Man, no pun intended or pun intended. We got Chris here. So Chris, like Miles Morales, okay, so he came out of the Ultimates. I have my thoughts, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Well, I don't know. I'm qualified to comment on this because I did buy like all the Ultimate Spider-Man omnibuses, and I flipped through them quite a bit. I never sat down and read them. So I looked at the art. It looked interesting, and I think I only read like the first 20 issues, and that was it. I like Spider-Man. I was trying to give it a shot, but it just didn't do it for me, and
Was that Sarah Pichelli?
No, not yet.
Not at the beginning, I don't think, but she's really freaking good.
She's great, but she doesn't come until later.
But yeah, because the thing is, this is my take on Miles Morales. Like, for the Ultimates, I guess, let's replace, Peter Parker. But it seems like, to me, Miles Morales had more like the idea, I guess, maybe of Miles Morales or things that came like outside of the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. It seemed like it was had more impact than the actual Miles Morales as Spider-Man in the original Ultimate take. I guess what I'm trying to say is like the movie, Into the Spider-Verse and some of that stuff that came after. It seemed like they had more success with Miles Morales. Maybe they had a better take on him, but I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about it. I don't like any character that replaces another character.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when it's your favorite character. There's a limit to, Spider-Man's my guy, so there's a limit to how much I'm really going to fucking invest.
Well, they're playing with your guy right now.
Yeah, well, fuck those people.
They're fondling him.
My Miles Morales knowledge is limited. Does Miles have like the back universe that's Peter Parker does with Daily Bugle and Mary Jane?
What happened was they did a storyline where the Ultimate version of Peter dies fighting the Green Goblin, stopping the Green Goblin, and Miles, basically the same spider that bit Peter, it didn't die when it bit him. It right before it died, it bites Miles. So they both get the same powers. But
that's real original.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do, man?
I want to see the comic of the spider. What happens?
Yeah,
to that spider like all those years.
I like that the lab and that the Green Goblin. What's the guy that's the Green Goblin?
Osborn.
Yeah, Osborn and all this stuff. Nobody scoured that lab for that spider, right?
Spider.
Like they all knew that it gave this kid this incredible ability, but yet the spider's still in the same facility, just walking around doing his thing.
But,
and then maybe he left and sold insurance and got married and had kids. Like,
sold insurance.
The janitor.
It bit a pigeon. It bit there's a bunch of spiders.
There's a pigeon that shoots webbing out of his armpit.
But
scrapbooking.
Yeah,
raccoon.
I think you're right about them going back to the well because they also just announced that Greg Capullo, once he's done with his Creech miniseries, he's going to be doing Wolverine.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it seems like they're like, man, we really need something to really hit the gas here. So
I'm surprised they're even trying.
Wait, here's a question.
I want to know how much money they had to pay him.
Is he just doing covers?
No,
just because they said he's doing Wolverine, is he doing covers or is he doing interiors?
He's doing interiors too.
So they're going to make it like an $8 book, and he'll do 20 pages, and someone else will do 10 pages.
Who knows?
Rob, this is Greg Capullo, man. Like when he commits to something, he doesn't F around.
But I wonder if
who's the writer?
I don't know. It was just
Greg Capullo. If he's smart, he writes it himself.
See here, Greg Capullo. doesn't say who the writer is.
That's probably Greg then.
Tudu.
And didn't they already have like Victor Bogdanov or the
Bogdanovich?
guy who's kind of a Capullo?
I hate that guy.
Didn't he already draw Wolverine?
Oh, well, it was him. It was actually
Oops,
two
never
people.
mind.
Actually, it was two people. It was him and Andy Cooper. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll tell you, Victor Bogdanovich. I inked his first work over at DC. We were doing the Batman video game book.
Arkham Knight.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. That dude is a head case. He is so in love with himself and what he does. He cannot remove himself from it. So we're working together, and he keeps telling me, do it this way. And so I finally just said, I'm going to do it my way. And then he pushed me on it. And I said, you want Greg Capullo and you want Danny Mickey. I said, that's not who we are. You're Victor Bogdanovich. I'm RT Bear. Let's do something original, And so, he couldn't get past it. And all he did after that was just do everything he could to get me fired from the book.
That's 50% of all millennial new artists in comic books. Exactly the same way. They can't. They don't know how to be a team. They think they can do it all, and if you say they can't do it all, then they'll just start drawing it on a computer, and they'll purposely try to draw it so you can't even ink it because they'll add a bunch of stuff too close and all that other BS. It's one of the problems with comic books nowadays.
Yeah,
everything else.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a textbook. That's exactly what he did. So there's more and more computer effects in the book and stuff like that. Thinking that I couldn't emulate them, but I did. And you couldn't. I mean, what I was doing was better than the computer effects that he was throwing down. But it's whatever. It doesn't matter. We're here now. We got beat up. We've all got taken our lumps, and now we're like working for ourselves.
Started at the bottom. Now we're here.
We're just
now I'm a winner.
Yeah, you're a winner. I was gonna say you stepped on my punchline. I was gonna say, and now. Everybody listening, we're kicking our own asses.
Yeah.
So, hey, speaking of that, let's do a round robin. We're going to wrap up the show, and let's do some promotion, man. Let's get some good comic books into the ether here. How about you, Todd? What do you got?
Hey, I've had a down device for forever, so I haven't even.
Oh no.
Yeah, my XP Pen digitizer went, and I battled it out with them for like a month and a half, and they just wanted to give me a coupon. So, but one's coming on Friday. I'll be back to drawing on Friday, and I'm going to be working on the next project, and so. But I've been mastering my traditional skills. Hold on, let me show you something.
Well, see, this is what we want.
There
okay,
we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Now full screen.
Yeah.
See,
nice.
This is the shit we want, man.
There you go.
Man's got to know his limitations.
So who is that? Ernest Borgnine?
No.
I will reach through this.
Cool.
I will reach through this camera and slap you.
Dude, Ernest Borgnine is the shit.
That's a commission, by the way. I don't really do a lot of commission.
Well, you should do more of them, and you should work in that style. That was very, very good, Todd. Kicking ass. Okay, how about you, Mr. Hilinski? I see this here.
Yep.
The superiors
Nice.
you must obey.
So this is.
Oh, that's cool.
That looks a little
love
familiar.
Homage covers. So I am a huge fan of homage covers. So this is going to be the next one here, and I spent a good chunk of the day figuring out how to do that.
Zipatone in the back.
background. Yeah.
The Zipatone in the back digitally. The Zipatone in the back digitally was a pain in the ass.
Dude, I'm going to
That's
tell you
cool,
something right
though,
now.
man.
I would straight up, like, if people started going back to that old school newsprint and that old printing like that, I'd still buy it.
Yeah,
I'm actually doing
Well,
something
and
like
like
that, Rob.
the thing was looking at this cover, it's like basically it's flats. Like the coloring, it's like all flats with like maybe a line or two of rendering. Like to be a colorist in the 90s had to be a pretty sweet gig.
Well, this was colored. This was colored pre-computer.
The
Yeah.
268 was.
Yeah, the original cover. Yeah.
So, like, what did they do then? How are they coloring it?
I don't know how they did.
Watercolor?
No. I mean, they would just do, your standard kind of color guides, and then all the progressions and stuff were done. It's a printing process, the gradations and stuff. Yeah.
No, that's done by old ladies with airbrushes.
Oh, come on, Chris. Stop.
I mean, that's the way they did it in Disney.
Oh God!
It was done with old ladies and airbrushes.
Old ladies and unicorn blood.
Back in the day when you went up to fucking Canada to visit the printing press and like for all the Silver Age shit, you'd go there and there'd be a bunch of fucking old ladies airbrushing the marble covers. That's how that was done.
Not just old ladies. Old ladies.
It's called old lady airbrushing on those. If you look at some of those old, I got some here.
That's awesome, Chris.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about, but they usually only did it for the covers, right? It was only the covers.
Only on the covers.
Yeah.
That old lady airbrushing on.
I thought
Those
Chris was going to bring an old lady.
Oh,
you'll see
you just destroyed Pedro.
I just thought Chris was going to bring an old lady. See, I have an old lady right here. Say it.
It was
You
women that were
airbrushes.
doing
You fucking
color, the color separations at Marvel too back in the day.
Oh my God! But this looks awesome, man. I love this.
Awesome.
This is one of my favorite covers that Jim ever did.
Yeah, it's mine too. So I'm gonna definitely throw it in there.
He actually told a story. Right? He tried to buy this cover back.
Oh God, yeah.
And
I can only imagine.
He offered the guy something like $300,000.
Wow.
What?
And like he this is after he did Batman his Batman run. He offered him any like one or two covers from his collection. The guy turned him down.
Oh my God.
So
that means it's going to be
down though. I want to see more, Clint.
Oh,
it's going to be in an auction in next year for 1.2.
I think the guy actually did eventually sell it, and he sold it for like $500,000.
Can you see when I scroll now?
Yeah. Oh, good
Want to
stuff,
touch the hiney?
Look at them.
You even signed Lee like he signed on the cover. That's cool.
Oh
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Back when comics were awesome.
Oh my gosh, that is too good, Clint. So the pre-launch, you guys,
Great job.
sign up is in the description for Superiors. So Clint, how long are you going to have the pre-launch up, and when are you thinking of going live with the campaign?
I'm going to have it for the next month. So it's February now, January, February, March. We're going to run it through March, and then I'm going to launch probably either end of March, beginning of April. Not on April Fool's Day, probably, because nobody will believe me. But right end of March, beginning of April there. So I got another month. I started it last Wednesday, so I've got a bunch of people that have signed up already. But definitely jump on board the mailing list if you haven't yet. The mailing list is the only way you'll get access to. I've got exclusive secret discount tiers. So you will get a discount on some of the best tiers in the book. And the only way you can get access to those is on the mailing list. I want to give everybody that signs up on that mailing list that's a fan of my stuff a show of my appreciation for you and give you that discounted tiers. So definitely do that. There's going to be other goodies on there. So mailing list is completely free. And it really helps me like kind of get the ball rolling and get excitement for that beginning launch. And then we'll probably have a launch night show. I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, that night of launch thing is a really important big deal. And the mailing list really helps me get access to you guys and let you know what's going on so that everybody can show up and have fun with that exciting launch night. I want to make it a big deal.
Yeah, those algorithms are important for Indiegogo to spotlight the project. So casuals coming in, or even people that are just trying to find your project, will find it easier because it'll be higher up in the search.
Yeah.
So a very, very good. Looking forward to that. We have Pedro Ang. We have Tropical Magics. You're doing a Kickstarter, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pedro Ang, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm doing Tropical Magic Second Chance. Coming right up. Sign up, spread the word. And yeah, well, I'm gonna try something different because I'm already like 20% into the production of Waifus and Kaijus, which is my next project. So I might do something like offer Waifus and Kaijus and Tropical Magics within that campaign. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to design because the second campaign is not moving as much as I would like to. So maybe I'd rather entice people with something completely new.
So wait, is the Kickstarter up already? The Tropical
No,
Magic?
I mean, you can sign up, but it's not.
But it's not live yet, right?
No, it's not live. It's not
Okay.
live.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of made it sound like it wasn't doing well. No, you
No,
haven't.
it's not moving with the signups. It's like a second chance campaign. So I don't know. Like I'm rethinking my life right now.
Oh my gosh, you're bumming me fucking out, man.
I'm rethinking my life.
Oh my gosh, this is why I went in close for looking at oh my gosh.
Can't quite touch that T-Rex.
Oh.
Pedro's on the journey of self-destruction.
The look on your face is exactly the same as the dude on your shirt.
Yeah,
Hawaiian punch guy.
I'm the Hawaiian punch dude. Yeah. But
How about a Hawaiian punch? Oh shit, that was like the saddest thing I think I've heard in a while.
By the way, guys, if you're trying to go to the link for Superiors that's in the description, it doesn't work anymore. The new link is in the chat.
Wait, I checked it before. So the one in the description
it goes to this page has been taken down. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Shadow banned.
Oh,
Am I
no.
shadow banned already?
I think
Shadow
I
ban
saw
your sign up page.
Yeah, I think I saw you dropped it in the
I got it in there.
chat as well, right?
Yes,
Okay. Well, Bob, what do you got, man? Parting shot.
What do I got?
Stuff to plug.
Buy what you love, guys. Don't hey, you know what? We're all here because we love this stuff. You know, we really do. And that's what Comics Gate is, man. It's keeping it alive. So support the projects you like. Don't buy the crap. And dude, I'm 5 beers in, man.
Dude, that was even sadder than my dissertation, Bob.
That was worse.
I mean,
it's a good thing we're
there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're watching. Like, subscribe, share it out on your social media. Click all these links and support this stuff, man.
What's that, Todd?
Have you guys seen that Marvel put out a book sponsored by Visa investing in each other?
Yeah.
It's like Shuri and Black Panther on the cover.
It's gay.
What the hell?
Dude, I'm telling you. Dude, have you seen all right, I gotta talk about this for a second. Their big crossover right now is the Sins of Sinister. It's this Mr. Sinister storyline. I'm looking at Mr. Sinister looks like a little foppish little bitch.
Oh no!
He used to be a scary bad guy.
He used to be Colossus
now he
with
looks
a white face.
Now he looks like a
and a cloak.
And it's like Jesus Christ. Where are you finding these people?
Dude,
Well, do you remember
Marvel
Marvel got in bed with Pfizer? I think we
yeah, we saw
on
that.
this show.
Oh God,
That was
what
shameful.
happened to this thing we love, man?
Dude, Marvel is gonna
It died
make
10 years ago, Bob. It died.
But
I tried hard to get the Pfizer deal. I tried real hard to get that Pfizer
I'm
deal.
sure you did, Rob.
Pfizer's got that. Hey, you want some cheddar, man? They're the ones that got it.
Yeah,
Killed a bunch
Marvel's
of people
gonna
to
make
get
it
it.
coming with Iron Man and Metamucil. Like,
Yeah. When I have to go in my
X-Lax.
armor, I depend on depends.
Yeah, exactly. X-Lax and the X-Lax.
Bob's gift is marketing. Okay, Chris. I know you're in a very precarious place right now, but what do you got for us, man?
Well,
See, I'm gonna mute
as
Pedro
dire
for you.
as with Pedro.
Please.
So we got Penelope Powerhouse. There's you could sign up for that, and we got DC Comics versus Chris Wozniak. There's a GoFundMe. So we just went into discovery, so we're getting ready for trial.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is there a timetable? Like nothing's locked down, but like,
listen, if we could fucking go to trial tomorrow, I would.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that the bitch that's fucking dragging everything out.
Yeah.
So it's they're gonna drag it out. It's according to my lawyer, it could take a few months to get through, and then hopefully we'll get a date. I mean, I want to go to trial. I really do with that bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's how I see it. I think our chances of winning with the jury are much better than theirs, despite all the resources and money they have. So, so that's where I'm at.
And just to back up, so everybody knows, there was an idea that Chris came up with a Batman story with the Riddler. And he had pitched that to DC and Michael Uslan, is that? And somehow magically it got to the big screen. And so what Chris is doing right now, and I applaud you, man, because very few people actually have the cojones to go this far with things. They're too scared. You're taking Warner Brothers to task on this, and I think you have an excellent case. And I hope that you win, because that'd be great.
Go ahead.
One question, Chris. When they settle by giving you DC Comics, will you change the name or will you keep it DC Comics?
I gotta fire Jim Lee. Bitched out. What the fuck, man? He went along.
He'll change it to DCC. Dope Chris Comics.
Warner Brothers' reaction to me suing them for the story is they didn't even fucking say, they didn't even disagree. They had DC sue me. I didn't sue DC, but DC Comics is suing me for writing an unauthorized story, which is bullshit.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite part. And this is why you not only did you have a case before, but they helped make your case, because one of the biggest things that you have to do in these kind of trials is that you have to prove connection. You have to prove that they received this thing so that they could rip it off. Well, they're already admitting that they got it. So you're already halfway there.
This case has got a lot of people watching it because it has a lot of ramifications for freelance work.
Huge.
If this goes to trial, he's got a lot of people in his corner.
Yeah, if this goes to trial and I lose, they're setting a precedent that they could basically confiscate work they never fucking paid for or contracted for. And they could do it without giving you credit or compensation. That's the precedent they're trying to set. And that is scary beyond belief, because it's bad enough that they did this to me. Could you imagine if they win this and then they set a precedent that it's got, Spider-Man in it. We could take that and print it. We don't need to, give you any credit and you see your stuff on a cover or, it's just crazy, that they could take your stories, ideas, your drawings or whatever the fuck it is, and just take them. It's ridiculous. And retroactively too. My story's 30 years old. They're suing me for a story I wrote 30 years ago. They're trying to take retroactive control of my story. It's nuts. So we'll see what happens. But you got to fight shit like this. Yeah.
Well, I got into a similar situation, and I could prove connection and all that other stuff with Chrono Mechanics. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I talked to my attorney, and he said the Pick of Destiny movie just didn't make enough money to even go after them. Yeah. So at least you have a successful movie to go after.
$100 million. So it's it's not they didn't lose money on it.
Right. Yeah. So there's some success there. So it'll be worth your time. It'll be worth your attorney's time to pursue it, and things like that. So yeah, I'm following this, and I really hope for good things, because like we've all said, I mean, it's good for all of us, for these companies to stop just exploiting and just taking whatever, because it's easy and they can. And most of the time we don't say anything. Yeah. So, it's good that somebody is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rob, what do you got, man? Death Raider. I know you just launched it a few days ago. I know you're cleaning up, man. That book is doing really, really well right now. So,
should I hit the present button?
Yeah, you can present yourself.
Present. Share screen.
Expose yourself.
Very nice.
Bear it all. Come on, Rob.
There.
I want to see Chi-Chi.
There we go. There's the campaign. It's live, and it's everybody stop buying Marvel, stop buying DC, stop buying your favorite comics, and just keep buying copies of Death Raider again and again. And after you think you bought enough copies of Death Raider, there's cover A, cover B, there's cover C, which is the black and white version. Here's some pages.
And if you think time is running out, keep going.
You can buy some watches.
See, we double teamed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or some bangles or some rings.
I love the bangles. They were a cute little band.
And the big thing about Death Raider is that the first stretch goal is download. So if we hit the stretch goal of 35K, the first thing that happens is once it hits in demand, you get a monthly chapter of Death Raider until the book ships. So hopefully if we hit all the stretch goals, the book is going to go from 64 pages to 100 pages. But I really wanted to the things about crowdfunding where you have to wait so long, and then Marvel and DC, you get your book every month. I wanted to try to bridge that gap with Death Raider. So hopefully it happens, and everybody will be getting, their monthly installment of Death Raider. So
yes,
that's my pitch.
No, it's great, and the book is fantastic. The link is in the description, and I'm pretty sure it's working because I checked it before I put it all together. So go click on the link. Back Death Raider today. The book looks amazing. Rob Hunter has paid his dues time and time again, and he came, you know what? Rob came from good stock, man. He looked at all the best guys in the industry.
I did. R.T. Bear, Jim Lee, Scott Adams, Scott Williams, yep.
Yeah.
Danny Meeke, who was looking at R.T. Bear.
Yeah. Trained by. Okay, well, I guess it's my turn. I'm going to present. Let's see if I can present something presentable. And here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
Expose yourself.
I am exposing Black and White. This is me. Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine in a world where law and order is often blurred to gray. Justice can only be. Bum, bum, bum. Black and White. We have 1,455 backers. We are at 122,307. We are still getting backers every week. I am still just beside myself on this. I'm so grateful, so thankful for each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for supporting, backing, and bringing this thing to life, basically. This was just a dream, just an idea. And without money, we can't do shit. So a little funds, we can create comic books for you guys. We can entertain you. We can be at least, some variety in the industry. Marvel and DC, if you're kind of tired of that, you can come over to CG. There's a bunch of cool books, and Black and White is one of them. So this is issue 2. This will be the wrap up to the Origin Saga. We have issue 1 available with this campaign. The original printing sold out, so we have a second printing, which is, where is it at? It is right here. So you have a brand new cover by Kyle Ritter and myself. Kyle Ritter is the colorist. I think it came out pretty damn cool. And so then we have a bunch of other cool things. We have a supporting book here. We have an animated adventure, high octane Black and White, done by the great Pedro Eng and Von Klaus on writing. So this is going to go to print very, very soon. We are just wrapping up some of the edits on it, and I just threw Pedro a quick art correction or art change, and I think that page is even stronger than it was before. So then we have some variants. We have We have Joe Bennett here, right off of getting canceled and fired at Marvel Comics on his Hulk run. So this is his first work that he did after that. So I reached out to him basically just to say, hey, brother, I feel your pain. And he's like, hey, let me draw something for you. And I was like, hey, oh, okay.
Hey.
And so then he's like black and white, but what should they be doing? I was like, fighting robots. What else would these two guys be doing? So if you notice some similarities, like black and white fighting robots, black and white fighting robots, and the Kenneth Roquefort black and white fighting robots. So one of the things that these two crazy kids do is they fight robots. So if you like sci-fi action adventure with a thriller edge, it's kind of got some spy drama in there. In a future world where robots, are pretty much mainstay, and there has to be somebody that polices these illegal robots, these robots that are up to no good, and that's kind of where black and white come in. So this is Man versus Machine. Thank you guys so very much for supporting this campaign, and we're getting closer and closer to getting this sucker done. So very soon. So thanks again. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out for 2 hours plus with the Pontificators. I want to thank all my brothers here, Todd, Clint, Pedro, Bob, Chris, and of course, Rob Hunter for coming in and entertaining you guys for the last couple hours. One thing we do is we kind of set like, we'll hit these topics. And the cool thing about these guys is we usually never get into them. We find better shit to talk about.
I got a topic for next week. Is Inko in blackface?
Oh God!
Oh.
And there goes your monetization. Thanks, guys.
How dare you?
I resent that.
You know what? That you've been saving that since I told you I didn't like Peter Parker.
No, I just noticed. Well, I noticed earlier in the.
Definitely don't like him now.
Yeah. He's kind of got a little Groucho Marxism. Like it's got a mustache and like some glasses and.
Actually, you know what? Like, now if we're talking about Inko really reminds me of the old like Fleischer cartoons, like Felix the Cat, like that kind of character design.
Yeah, that's what we were going for. I want to do his arch nemesis Stinko, and so the bottle would be like like a poison bottle where it had like the skull and crossbones, on it and stuff. So he would be like his arch nemesis.
Wait, his arch nemesis would be a bottle of whiteout.
Yeah.
Because it covers him up.
So that could be Stinko?
Oh my God.
Yeah, Stinko the whiteout. White against black. Race war.
So many inappropriate things just went through my brain.
I'm seeing the theme
Let's
here.
go.
Black and white.
I'm too immature to continue this conversation.
Shit-faced.
Yeah. Hey, Pedro. You got a parting shot?
Party shot. Party shot. Yeah, you got to do a shot.
He's had
don't
enough
take
shot.
any wooden nickels. I don't know. Guys, don't put me in the spot like this.
When going in, this was always my go-to when going into battle. Make sure you wear a condom.
Yeah.
Whether it's a con or the gas station,
or
puts a condom on.
Quit picking on the brown guy. Come on.
You know what? I have a condom on right now. Because you can never be too safe. You can never be too safe.
Safety
first. I know, Bob. I know.
Someone likes to party. You never know when
you.
I'm trying to get there.
As long as you're going to say it in the first 8 minutes, you can say whatever.
But that's went off real quick.
Yeah, we're going to go 20 minutes saying goodbye to everybody. All right, man. Well, we'll see you next week. Take care.